Hi, this is the second part of the tutorial on this 7-day SDA Church Event App. I did the first one, and I'll make a link so that you can get to it. And now I'll proceed with the second part of the demonstration. And so let me bring up the app itself. This is the app screen. Second, let me make it larger. Okay. So the last time I went through logging in and logging off and creating a new account and so forth. This time I'll go straight into the second part, which has to do with the menu under this section called the hamburger menu. And so when you click on it, you will see all these menus here. First, it will show you the username that you use to log in, give you an idea to log out. We're going to look at polling and voting, church members, agenda and minutes, soulmate, which is a dating feature, joining a small group, and the skills for hire, which is allowing church members to advertise their professional skills to the membership, as well as organization and coordination, event videos, report issues, and profile settings. And so those are the things that we will be discussing in this video. So we go to the top. Basically, if I hit log out here, it will log you out, and then you can log back in. So I'm going to go straight to polling now. Polling is a feature that was added recently. Basically, what this is doing is doing electronic voting. Electronic voting. So electronic voting is, you notice since the pandemic, a lot of things are being done remotely. And also having meetings and voting on them is also an issue. And so electronic voting was introduced. Basically what it is, as you may have seen, these are motions that were made. It tells you who made the motion, what the motion is about, and whether the status is open, which means it's open for voting, or the motion is closed, or it's in a draft state. And so who can make motions? Sorry, who can create a motion? Only the church clerk, the leaders of a department, or the pastor. So those are the three different type of members, and I'll show you where they're at. So when you look at your member list, if you see the church clerk itself, that person can make motion, can create a motion, and if there's anybody else, that's basically it for this church. So right now I am logged in, and I have to log off because if I was a church clerk, I'll have more features. So let me just, maybe it's logged in another phone somewhere. So I'll just log off and log back in to be able to get those features. This is not a valid email address. As soon as this is completed, that will be removed. Okay, so now that I'm logged in, if I go back to the member list, then it will show, that I logged in as the church clerk. Right? Vote. And then you notice it will come up saying that I have access to create a motion. So right up there is, the information to create a motion. You can look at a motion by clicking on it. If it's still open, you have the status of draft, open, and close. I'll explain those. But for a motion that is closed, you will get a different, you only get a report. Because it's already closed, you cannot modify it, you can't do nothing. And so let's start by creating a motion. So when I click the plus bar, you can say who is making, what's the name of the motion? Let's say the motion is to purchase a new piano. P-U-R-C-H-A, purchase a new piano. And who made this motion? Well, you need to say who made this motion. Let's say it was motion seconded and is discussing. So far, they've been discussing it, and they reach to the point now that they close the discussion and it's time to vote. And so you need to send out the voting requests. So this motion is to P-U-R-C-H, purchase a new P-I-A-N for the church. If you AGR agree to P-U-R-C-H, purchase the piano, vote yes. Yes. If not, vote no. And so that information will go out. I'm going to make it a draft for right now. And I'm going to check this box because what I do want is that members who are not part of the voting team, the board members, will also need to see what is the result of the voting itself. So I check that box. Otherwise, if I don't check it, all they would see that the motion passed or the motion failed, but they will not see how many says yes, how many says no. So this one will give them information as to how many yes and how many no. And an email will go out, and this is the header information for the email. You can change it. You can put whatever you want, but this is just a template with the information that goes out in the email as the header, and then the instruction goes as the body, and then this goes out in the same email as the trailer, the footer. So I'm gonna hit submit, and so that motion is created, and if you notice it's in the draft state, right? Now at this time I can then invite members to vote, right? And so therefore I click the shared icon button here, and then I go over to small. I can invite individual to vote, I can do that. And if you notice this person is from a different church, you shouldn't be doing that. But you can invite anybody to vote, as well as you can invite everybody from a small group, right? Say we have a small group that I was created in the last, I think in the last one. And so once you select all the members from the small group, I'm gonna uncheck this one and then hit invite. Those individuals are now ready to vote. And if you notice here, because I'm as a member of the small group, I also got a notice on my phone says, please vote, purchase a new piano created today, right? And it's asking us to vote. So I can click on it and it will take me straight to the report about the voting itself. But so far 3 persons and no one has voted as yet. All right, so No, they can't vote because it's in the draft state. So therefore, I'm going to move it to the open state. And the reason why I did that in the draft state, because let me show you, when I go back to look at the list of individuals, I have the option of removing a name, right? I want to make sure that I have everybody, because once I go open, I can't add no more individuals, right? And I can add them, but it would reset the voting that maybe already started. And so here, if you want to remove a name, you can do so, right? But once you put the motion in an open state, then you can't modify. So I'm going to change it now to an open state and save. And so if I go back now to look at the list, you notice I have no control over adding or removing individual from the vote itself, from the motion. So voting is going out. At this time, members will get that email and they will go to their screen, and over here they click on My Vote History, hit refresh, and it will show you all your historical vote. And here is the new vote. For example, not yet voted. Here's another one, to have 2 service on Sabbath. I have not voted on that one either. And so if I were to vote on purchasing a new piano, I click here and I will say yes. I could say yes or no. And but you also have the ability of not voted or to abstain. But these information are not shown up on the report. It's just yes or no, it shows up. So I'm going to submit. So now that I voted yes, it changed to yes. And so if I were to go back to looking at the report, go back into voting. Sorry, I should have. So if I go here and then go looking at the report, which is the report is this one, and it will show me that yes, we have one person that's voted, says yes, and after 3, you have 2 more have not voted yet. You can change your vote, even though you voted yes. You have the option of changing your vote, and you can do so before the motion is closed. So before the motion is closed, you have the option of changing your vote to no, but I'm going to change it back to yes, because I want them to purchase this new piano. Okay, so these individuals are voting, and let's see, go see. You don't know who's voting what. You just know that these are the individual that has access to vote itself. So if I were to log in on another phone as one of these users and vote, show you what it looks like. Log off here and log in. Okay. The beauty about this is that members, even though they're not present at the address where they're voting, you can do it remotely, as long as you have your cell phone and you have the app itself. You can vote wherever you are in the country, or if you're on vacation and you're part of the team, you can vote, So I'm going to vote yes here. And if I go back to this screen itself, go to the report, and it shows here that there are 2 yeses. So you don't know who are making the vote, just that you know that there's 2 votes so far. No, it's up to the board members to decide when to close the vote. It's a procedure or policy that they have to establish by themselves. And so once that is established and they close the vote, right? Once they close the vote, It says here, by closing this motion, voting will stop and you cannot reopen or edit it. Are you sure you want to close the vote? If I hit yes, I want to close the vote. The vote is now closed, and if you notice now, the motion is passed. That's the status. Now, if I click on it, all you get is that the motion is passed, the vote, it's closed, and we have 2 of 3 voted. So 66% voted. All right, so that's basically what we have for casting a vote or doing electronic voting itself. Right. The department leaders, if I go back here, I'll show you church clerk can create motions. I'll move Ubaldo to a department leader. Where is it? Department leaders. They too can create motion. And so if you want to have a poll done in your department, say Sabbath school, just for your Sabbath school members, and you want to either have a voting on some things that you do in the meeting, or you want to ask a polling question, should we have 6 Sabbath group? And you can just send out that poll itself, same thing, and it will come back. The members are able to vote. So that's what we have for voting. I can't think of anything else. If not, we're going to move to the next one. Church members here, this menu is the same as this menu here, listing all the church members, those who sign up and assign this church as their home church. So from here, if you click it, it's the same thing, right? It goes to the same area. And we covered that in the first tutorial. The next one is agenda and minutes. So we covered this partially in the first tutorial also. However, what this is, this gives you a list of all events that in the system that have at least an agenda or a minutes. If it don't have a minutes or agenda, it will not show up in that list, right? And so this is the all the events that have either an agenda or a minutes, and to see the agenda, you just click on this arrow up here, and it will drop down and show you the information. The same thing will happen for the minutes. If you have a minutes, you can click to see the agenda, and you can also click to see if there's any minutes and what the minutes are about. And so basically, that's what it is. I think you have the option here. If you click on this, you can go to the detail of the event itself, and likewise, you have the same thing in the detail screen to look at the minutes or the agenda there also. Right? But if there's any events that there are no minutes like this one, then it will not show up in the list. Right? Only the ones that are on the list will show up there. So these won't show up because there's no minutes. One thing that you can do here also is if you get the list, you can look at the current events, maybe even meetings that's going on, or you can look at past events that has passed and look at the minutes there if there's any. And so it will show up here also. All right, moving on to the next menu. The next menu is Soulmate. Now, Soulmate, as I mentioned, is a feature that allows members to relate to each other from here, because it says that we should not be unequally yoked with unbelievers. Okay, so that's a command, and so we need help to make sure that we don't yoke with unbelievers so that we can have believers. So everybody who sign up with their profile for this feature, they would have to set up their profile itself. And so Test 3 had set up their profile previously. And so what you do is you put an alias. My alias is Tree to Test. You put your age, and you put, when do you want this profile to last for? Because you can set up your profile not indefinitely, but put a period of time, and if you run out, you can always extend it. Are you a male or a female? Your high school, technical, your level of education, your ethnicity, who are you? And you can say, okay, what is your profession? You can type here, what is your profession? And then you have a little section that says you introduce yourself. You can put whatever you want to introduce yourself. Those who are prospectors who are looking will see this information. And then when you're done, you just hit submit. So now that you have a profile system, then you can then go to see, you can create an event by clicking on create, selecting to see which state is there somebody else available. Now, because Tree to Test is set up as a female, this will only show them the male prospect that are out there. So there's one in Florida, and it says, okay, we're in Florida, they're in Pembroke Pines. Okay, so and then, okay, not one, but could be many in Pembroke Pines. And so here you have two profiles. You have one called Speedy, which is an electrician from the church, and you have Ubaldo, which is also, so if I click on here, then you can see Ubaldo's aliases. Ubaldo's God's creation, that's his alias. He's a computer science, university level, he's 60, he's black. And his introduction is to God be the glory. You can send a message to Ubaldo. It says, hi, I like your profile, right? And then send this message to Ubaldo. Now, if you notice, when you send the message to Ubaldo, it comes out here. Hi, I like your profile. Now, this also gives you a list of other contacts that you have communicated with, and you have an idea. You have the ability to filter on a certain individual. You can filter by a certain state, church, or even from a name. Filter on, let's say, filter from Ubaldo itself. U-B-A-L-D-O. And so all the information in your list now should only show information to or from Ubaldo, right? That's basically what that filtering is about. And so you basically can use it to communicate with others initially before maybe switching to a more personal means of communication. So this is just there to help church members so that they would yoke not with unbelievers but with believers. Okay, now we have another section called small groups. Small groups are only configurable by the church clerk and I think the pastor. Only them can create small groups, and small groups is a one-time off, and you submit a request to the church clerk. For example, you can do it however you want. You have the ability of creating a bulletin and says create women's ministry small. You can say please create this and make it public. Now, in the last tutorial, we went over what is a public and a private bulletin, so you can watch it. And so here I'm going to make this one private, but the small group is going to be public. Now I want to create this as a private message, which is I'm the only one who can see it. And so then once it's created, I'm the only one who can see it so far. But then I want to send it to the church clerk. So I know the church clerk name and TST test. Tester 3 is the church clerk. I hit submit, and the information will go to the church clerk itself. All right, so say I'm the church clerk and I got that information, go home, and I come here, and it says new event board meeting created today. That's for 9/28 board meeting. So in other words, eventually that message will go to the church clerk and in their email, and the church clerk now will come over here, go into creating a small group. Only they alone have access to that. And these are the list of other small groups, board meeting, personal ministry, and I preface it with PM so that it's easier to search for. And so when I click here to create a new one, I click women's ministry. Small group, and this is where I says I don't want it private, I want it public. Private means that only the leader can add people to the group, but if it's public, anybody can add themselves to the group itself, right? And so like board members and certain elders council or elders meeting, only you can make those private small groups to minister to the groups in the church. You can put whatever the objective is. At this time you select the leader, right? So I put tester 3, and you can also do an assistant. You don't have to do an assistant. If you don't do an assistant, the system default to your name as the assistant. But I'll just put here an assistant and click active. And so each small groups need at least one zip code, because the feature came in when somebody was asking 3447, when somebody was asking for small groups in different zip code. They have Bible study small groups, so there it is. It just came in, which is create a women's ministry small group, and so that message came in, and the person would do so. So you have to have a zip code for a small group, and since this is a small group for the church, I just use the church zip code address itself. And so that's it to create a small groups. So now that the small group is created, if you notice, there's 2 different icons. This is a private small group. The members have that button to add people to the group itself, right? However, with public small groups, the members add themselves. You don't add them, they add themselves. There's going to be a feature where you can add it yourself. You can add members. So the next menu is joining a small group, right? So now that the small group has been created, you come over here where you have the plus, and you click on the plus icon, and you drop down and you see women's ministry, small groups, and you add yourself to the small group. So there it is. I'm now part of the board members small group, and I'm also part of the women's ministry small group. So if I go here, refresh, now I can see who are the members of the women ministry small group. So far, you only have one person that is joined. And so anybody, any members, any visitors can also be part of a small group. It is always good to invite visitors to be part of your groups so that any communication go out, that they can also see it, right? And you may want to have certain small groups for just visitors only, right? To communicate certain information to them. And so it's a good thing to have. The next menu is skills for hire. Now, again, this is the era by which members can advertise their professional capabilities for profit or for free. Doesn't matter. Whatever they do, it's theirs. This is where you want members to be able to help other members. And so, you know, the pay that you would have paid a stranger, when you pay to the member, you know, the member now will also have the ability of increasing their offering to the church because members helping members. And so that's a very good process to have. And so anybody who is a member, not a visitor, but a member of the church, can come in here and click the plus button to create a record. It will take your information that you sign up with and your phone number, if you have one that you sign up with, or you can just type one in, and it says enter your skill, right? What skill I have, let's say I'm a piano player, right? More information. I play piano or sings at concerts, wedding, and graduations. So that's what I'm advertising, and I hit submit, right? So this is it. Now, members who go here will see this information itself. And if they want to hire me, then they have the information to do so. Now, if you hire this piano player or singer, you can also do a review. You click here, and if you know, you can say what it is. I'm going to say she sings very good, and you do your rating. No, you can only do rating once. You can't do it twice. It doesn't say who did the rating. It just says that reviewer 209 did a review on you. They don't know who 209 is, and so that's exactly how the rating is. And again, individuals have the ability of clicking on a review and to see the information about the person. If there's more review, they can go and look at all the different reviews. One get rating 2, one rate 5. And so that's it for skills for hire, right? Any members can add their information there, and they can disable it too if they decided that, you know, for example, if you notice I only have the edit icon because I can't edit anyone else information. I can only edit mine. So once I click it and I decided I don't want to advertise there no more, I can say, okay, let's disable it. It's submit, and it's disabled, and it would not be part of the list itself, right? Would not be part of the list. But I can re-enable it whenever I need to do so. All right, and so that is for skills for hire. Let's look and see what else we have. Organizer and coordinator is the same as what we have on the main screen. You have seen this in tutorial number 1. It is the same as coordinator. Every event has to have a coordinator and or a presenter, whoever is presenting the meeting or the chairman. It has to be there, so that's where that is. What else we have? We have events videos. So you have the ability of attaching, and that was presented in the last tutorial also, that on an event, you can add YouTube videos to the event itself. From this menu, you don't have the ability of clicking to add it here. You have to do it from the event itself. But this menu just shows you a list of videos that are on your system. And I think it's sorted by, I have to check the sort, should sort it by days, created days, descending order. And so from here, yes, you can click on an event and it will just play just like on YouTube itself, right? But since I'm on a simulator, I don't know the capability, so that's what that is. Also, we have report and issues. Now, report and issues is where you go to create bugs. If you have an issue with the app itself, you can come in here and create an issue. What it is, you just come down here. You may want to type something. I don't have access to create events, right? And hit submit. So they know who wrote this trouble, which is system admin, and the individuals who maintain the system will see it and will respond. And once they respond, then they can also close the ticket itself. Now, what happens is that this icon shows you all the current tickets that are open, issues, and this one shows you the past tickets that have been created in the system itself, right? So what I do myself, I also go here and create events myself just to remind me to do things as I test the system itself. Now over here we have reviews. This is where I encourage you to go and you put your review about the app itself to encourage others to see what the reviews are. Let us know if we're doing well or doing bad. But that helps us as an opportunity to do better. And then FYI is where information goes from the admin about the app itself. Normally version updates are placed here, what the update is, and what the information about it is inside here. And so if you notice, they're the only one who have access to enter FYI information. You can do your own review and you can create your own tickets. All right. Okay, moving along. The next one is last but not least, settings. Settings shows you your profile setting yourself. So what basically it shows you the version of the app, your name. You have the ability to edit it, or you can delete your name. And so since this is a test email, not valid, when I'm finished, I'm going to click this one here. I'm going to click here, and this says delete all your records. This will delete all your records and remove you from the database. And you definitely, if you want to, you can do so, right? If you hit no, then you decided not to. But I'll show you what happened after I go through this. Your phone number goes here, your username, your account ID goes there, and you need your account ID when you're resetting your password. The church, your home church information, go here. You can click this to change your home church. There's two ways to change your home church. You can change it here, or you can go into church and change it there also. Church ID, there's no filtered church so far, and the system scan to see if there's any alerts that you may need to know of. And you can stop the alert scanning by turning off this. If you turn it off, you won't get any alerts, no notification. A notification, if you registered for a meeting, that notification also goes out 2 hours before the meeting to remind you. And any new events created, it will alert you. But if you disable it, then you won't get it. Here you can change your password. As I mentioned, your ID is needed for it. And so it knows who you are, it knows your ID. You just enter your information here and verify, hit submit, and it will change your password, right? What else? Change your profile. So what happens is that on the main screen, you have all these icons, but you have the ability of removing all of them if you don't want. Right? So if you don't want those icons on your screen, you have the ability of removing them and saving it. However, you cannot remove these 4 icons. These 4 are part of the system, and you cannot remove them. So if I hit submit here, and I go home, and I refresh the screen by clicking on this button, then those icons disappear. And even if I log off and log back in, that's all I will see. I won't see those others, because these are core to the system itself. And so to go back and put them back, go into settings, go down to change profile, and you can just put back whatever you want. I'll just put them back since I'm doing a demo, and submit. And okay, so before I go out to let's do that. I go back and I have to refresh my screen for them to come back. All right. Okay, so there's one other thing I want to show you in settings, and as I mentioned, you can click here to edit your profile to do whatever you want, change your picture, but you have to again consent and then hit save. But if you notice here at the bottom, you also have the ability to delete your account, right? If you click it, you have to double click down here. Then it come and ask you the same question. That same information is also here, right here, the same thing. If you click on this, it's actually the same thing. Now, if you said, yes, I want to delete myself, then you have to put in your password, hit the consent button. Once you put in a password, a valid password and the consent, then the submit button is up. And then you can hit submit to delete. But if the password is incorrect, it won't delete it. You have to have a valid password, right? So when I'm finished with this demo, that's what I will do with tester 3 and remove it from the database, all right? What you can do, I think you have seen this, you can change your languages, to French, or we have French, we have Portuguese in here, and we also have Spanish. It immediately changes it. And if you log off and log back in, it will be there. But in this app, you don't really have to log off. You can close it. And when you click on it, it will automatically get you back with the same profile that you had, right? And so this is basically it. So I'm going to show you. Right now I'm logged in, and my church is this church. So if I come here and I close it, right now it's closed from the system, right? I can then go back into the app itself, open it up, and it would know who I am, and all my settings will be there, and continue to operate as normal. So you don't have to, if you notice it, it logs me in and it knows who I am and so forth. so you can continue from there on. Right? Here is the bulletin that was sent to the church clerk that says, please create this email group. So once the email group is created, I have the option of removing this bulletin from my list, so it doesn't show, because a lot of bulletins, the ones that are private, whatever is being done, you'll get notified sometimes automatically about these. So here I can go here, and it would expires by September 20th. Right? If I want it, I just say, okay, I'm done. You can just you can leave it, and it will eventually expire, or you can change the date to some old date, right? And save it. Or even if you come down here and change it from private to disabled, disabled will still show up on your list. It will show you a list of disabled. But if you just want to make sure that I took care of it, and basically remove it from your list. So when you go to the list of bulletins, it no longer shows up in your list, right? Because it's no longer current. This is for current bulletins, and this is for bulletins that is in the past. You've noticed that in the list of past, expired, these are the current ones. All right. So that's basically what I have for menus on this site itself. And so this is the second tutorial for Church Event. The first one is already published, and this one will publish, and it will say Church Event App Part 2. All right, and that's basically it. Thank you very much.